Hi everybody, this is Dark Storm Comic Reviews here with a review on Green Goblin issue 9. We're just continuing with our Green Goblin reviews. So anyways, we start this book out with this girl named Angel Face. And she's a criminal and she's got thrown in jail. She kind of talked about how the Green Goblin kind of put her here. And she's talking about how, everybody sees him as a good guy now, but really he's just kind of a monster. And she has like this scar on her face, like this scar, so that the Green Goblin supposedly gave her. So she's kind of talking to this one-way mirror here. And we get to the next page, and we get to the scene where Ben Urich's here and Phil, and then Miss Liz Osborne, because if you guys remember from issue 7, I believe, Liz Osborne meets Phil, and she starts saying, I'd like to have, I want to know who's taken my husband's identity, the identity of the Green Goblin, because, for those of you who don't know, Harry Osborn was the second Green Goblin, so she wants to know who's taking her identity, who's stealing his equipment and everything. And Ben Urich here has decided to help her because they've been like longtime friends. So he's like, yeah, I'll help you out with that. So they're investigating the Goblin hideout where Phil, got his Green Goblin identity. And he's kind of freaking out in this moment because he's like, man, if they find out who I really am, my Goblin gig is over. There's no more flying around the skies and all that stuff. No more fun. So if they find out my identity, I'm screwed. And so he's kind of freaking out about that. And he's looking around, and he kind of talks about how he got his, how he became the Green Goblin. How his Uncle Ben got, bagged by some bad guys. He found the hideout, and he put on the suit, and he kind of became the Green Goblin. So that's pretty cool. We keep going, and they're investigating the warehouse. Phil here is kind of nervous about that. And they finally get to the room where, we found the Goblin equipment and the Goblin gear. And, but, funny enough, he ended up leaving the door open. Like, he actually left the door open to the Goblin hideout where, they kept all the gear and stuff. The Goblin room where they kept all the gear and stuff. So that wasn't really smart. But then he finds out that it actually is all gone. Like, all the Goblin equipment, all the vat of chemicals and everything, it's all gone. It's, like, completely gone. So he's just really shocked, like, does somebody know I'm the Goblin? Like, who could have found this? Who could have found this equipment and lab and all this other stuff, where I found my Goblin gear? And he's because, Norman and Harry, at this point in time in the comics are dead. So, so who could have found this? And so he's kind of freaking out. He's like, does someone know my identity? Who could it be? And we get this van right here, which could be a hint, I guess. As we keep going. And we're back to Angel Face. She's talking about how, we were just criminals. We were out having a good time. We were just, they're thieves. So, did them, it's a good time. But really, they're just robbing stuff. And, she's talking about how she robbed this banker. He's kind of interrogating him. She smacks him across the face here. And, so they're interrogating him. They find that he has some rather valuable items. That's pretty cool. But then they stumble upon this news article with Liz Osborne, and they're like, this lady's rich, so and through computers and stuff, we can get her money, we can rob her for money. She's really, really rich. And then we get back to Phil here. He's kind of thinking about like, what do I do now? I mean, the Goblin equipment's gone. Someone probably knows my identity. Like, what do I do here? It's kind of an interesting situation. Like, does someone know who I am? Does someone know about the warehouse? And, he's just kind of thinking all of it over. And then his buddy, Fast Freddy Glazier here. If you don't remember, he was in the first issue and a couple of the early issues too. He made a couple of appearances. But yeah, Fast Freddy Glazier is basically Phil's high school buddy. They still hang out. So. He sees that he has a Goblin mask, and he tries to put it on. And, again, when with Phil as the Green Goblin, specifically, when he puts on the Goblin mask, he gets like a jolt, like a shock to his head, to his brain, and mixed with the chemicals, the green chemical vat that he got spilled on him when he became the Goblin. So the jolt that the mask gives him, the shock that the mask gives him, mixed with the chemical vat that was spilled on him, mixed with that, he ends up becoming the Green Goblin. That's how he gets his super strength and everything. So yeah. But yeah, so Freddy tries to put it on, but he ends up not getting a shock or anything. Basically, it's just like pitch black. So he's like, you got ripped off of this. This mask didn't work. And Phil's kind of surprised, and was thinking to himself, like, what if it only works for me? What if me and the Goblin mask have like some kind of special bond? I just want to make sure you guys can see the photos. There's gonna be probably a little glare in this video, but yeah, here you go. I'm gonna give you a little quick. See, here's Phil's kind of shocked here. What if it only works for me? What if we have a bond between me and the Goblin mask? But really, I think it's just because I think he mentioned it. It's kind of like a mixture of the electric shock with the mix of the chemical vat that he got spilled on him when he became the Goblin. That's how he gets his super strength. So I think because Freddy didn't get the vat of chemical spilled on him, it doesn't really work for him because he didn't have that extra, that extra thing. Yeah, we keep going. We get back to Angel Face. She's kind of talking about how, Liz Allen was a very hard-working woman. She's very rich, and I was thinking about going to rob her, and and she talked about how she's very independent and stuff like that. I like to work for what I can, even though she's a thief. So, I guess she tries to be a good thief at least, but she's still a thief. But anyways, okay, we get to this next scene, and Phil puts on the mask. And he's like, maybe I should just meet up with Liz Osborne. Maybe I should come clean. Because earlier in the story, I forgot to mention this, but he's kind of talking. I think he's talking about how like, being the Goblin is kind of you brought all this grief on this Osborne and everything. And so he's like, maybe I should just come clean. Maybe it'd be better for me to just let her know that I'm a good guy. I'm like I'm not the other goblins. Like I'm an actual good goblin. So he puts on the mask. It's kind of funny seeing him have this conversation. The Goblin mask is just pretty hilarious, but it's pretty cool. So he's like, so they do arrange a meet. After some convincing, he gets on his Goblin glider. We get this really nice shot. I really like this shot of the Green Goblin flying in the air. Like I said, this art's kind of a mixed bag sometimes, but there are also some really good shots with this art too. But yeah, I really like this shot here. You want to get a good glimpse of that. Yeah. Anyways, keep going. Angel Face is like, she's basically like, yeah. So I got to the hotel and everything, and I'm about to rob her. And Liz Osborne is walking out, going to meet with the Green Goblin. Her son's getting babysat by this older lady, and she's about to go out, but then Angel Face. Okay, so there's Angel Face, which is the girl with the pink hair. Salt. No. Sorry guys. Angel Face is the one with the pink hair. Salt, I believe, is the one with the black hair. And Pepper, I think, is the one with the yellow hair. I think so. But yeah, anyways, they come into the house. They take her as a hostage. She's like, we're pretty much going to rob you. We're going to steal your money. There's not a lot to go into there. And then she's like, everything was going well. We had her situated to where we wanted her. But then the Green Goblin came and ruined everything. Next page. Green Goblin busts in. Another cool shot. This artwork has some really good shots. It's kind of mixed bag because some shots don't look that good and they're portrayed a little weird. But then you got shots like this that just look awesome where he's busting through the window. And he's holding the pumpkin bombs. And Phil's basically talking about how, I don't know why I came here all of a sudden, I mean, this isn't the first time a woman's ditched me before. So I'm not sure why I really rushed here. Nor am I sure why I didn't just, glide away and just call the cops. Because as we know, Phil Urich isn't really a confrontational person. He doesn't like to get into heroic fights, like Spider-Man or Iron Man or any of those guys. He doesn't like to get into fights just like that or into confrontations. He likes to take the easy way out, call the cops. He's not really into confrontation. He's really more or less looking out for his own skin. But anyways, yeah, so he's questioning, why he, mainly looking out for his own skin. But yeah, talks about why he came, he's not sure why he came here, but he came here anyways. And so he's ready to go, ready to fight. And these chicks are like, who's this guy? Don't know, but we'll just try to take him out. Tosses some pumpkin bombs. Liz is like, oh my gosh, just leave. What are you doing here? Because you gotta understand, her husband was a Green Goblin, so she probably has some kind of shock when she sees this other goblin flying. Or not really shocked. She's just like, because she's kind of been through the whole, my husband was a Green Goblin thing. You know, his father was Green Goblin too, so she's probably like, ugh, you know, she probably has like some bad memories from that. But yes, anyways, he busts in. He's taking him out. I like this little line right here. Move over, Buzz Lightyear. This is rescues courtesy of the Green Goblin. Because I think this book came out the same year Toy Story did, which was in 95, or maybe a year after, 95, 96. 1995 or 1996. But anyways, he gets into battle. He takes one girl out by tossing a pumpkin bomb at her, as you see here. And then he uses his finger blaster to shoot one of them down. Angel Face grabs the kid. She's walking out with him. Green Goblin is flying away. Or no, he's flying after the kid. I'm sorry, he's flying after the kid. He's like, you know, I could just bag this. I could just leave. But this kid, you know, he's kind of my responsibility, so I have to save him. And again, I like this moment because, like I said, this book, because I've been rereading it, I've been doing these reviews. It kind of is kind of a gray area book because this character, and I mentioned this tons of times, he's not a hero, he's not a villain, he's not really even an anti-hero, he's just kind of a guy who got lucky, got these powers, got the suit, and just kind of does this whole goblin gig for fun, for joyrides. He's not really in it for, you know, killing the people who murdered his family, or he's not doing this for some kind of personal responsibility, or because he wants to take over the world. No, he's just doing this for fun. So, and this book kind of goes on a way, it kind of hints to where he could actually go the hero route, Phil could, or he could actually go the villain route. So, kind of go either way. And this kind of hints that he could be going the hero route, because he does kind of take some personal responsibility here, where he goes, you know, this kid is my responsibility, I gotta save him. You know, that's kind of a heroic thing to do. You know, he could leave, but he's like, you know, this is my responsibility and I gotta do it. So that's something Phil doesn't really exhibit a lot, because he doesn't really have as much not nearly as much responsibility as Peter Parker does. So it's kind of cool. This little moment here is kind of cool. So he's going through the hallway, or the hotel doorway, hotel hallway, yeah. And he gets to the elevator, and he's like, you know, what's cool about being the Green Goblin is that I can actually rip the elevator doors open like tissue paper, and he rips them up easily. And again, another cool shot. This particular issue has a lot of cool shots. I love the shots where it's him in the cape, and then you can't see his face, and it's just these little white eyes here. That's a really cool shot. But he talks about how, you know, hopefully he doesn't become so jaded in the future if he keeps going with this gig, that doing stunts like these, that he doesn't take stunts like these for granted. But anyways, he opens the elevator shaft, and he flies down the shaft. It's a cool scene. A lot of cool scenes in this particular issue. The artwork's pretty good. Yeah, he's just flying down the elevator shaft. Angel Face has the kid, or I just say Normie Osborn, Liz and Harry's son, Normie Osborn. Yeah, that's his name. And he bites her hand. The chick Angel Face points a gun at him. But then Green Goblin's like, you know, you shouldn't be doing that, pointing guns at kids, because you know, when he fires at her with his finger blaster, takes her out, and she gets really, really ticked because apparently she's too good to criticize. So she starts just talking like, I'm a professional, I can do all this stuff. Da, 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 da. She's very, very much bragging about herself, and it's just kind of like, yeah, you know. Well, I mean, she's a bad guy, so she probably would. Anyway, she doesn't like being criticized, so she like kicks him in the chin, knocks him off his back glider. Green Goblin just pretty much gets his butt kicked, or Phil does, you know. I'm gonna make sure I get the photos here for you guys real quick for the scenes. Goblin, Angel Face, going to attack, knocks him off, starts kicking his butt, and she's fighting him so much that she ends up kicking him to the utilities room, and you know, it's about to be end time for the Goblin basically, and but thankfully he has his lunatic laugh, which if you guys don't know. Phil Urich, the thing that's special about his version of the Green Goblin that I don't think any of the other versions have, is that he can laugh so loud that he can actually shatter or break a person's eardrums. And like kind of, the sound can actually be really harmful. It's like a very high-pitched scream. And so he laughs very loud. He, you know, to the point where she can't think right, and she has this like very screeching pain. Shoots one of her bullets, and the bullet actually ricochets to a steam pipe. And as you can see, that's how she kind of gets her burned face. Yeah. So, you know, she's crying and crumbling to the ground. Phil goes to check to see if Normie's okay. And obviously, Normie's like, you know, I hate you. You're not the Goblin. And Phil kind of talks about, well, yeah, he kind of has a right to be miffed because, you know, this suit was probably made for him. You know, because he is an Osborn, you know. But anyways, Normie goes back to Liz. Liz is like, you know, I don't really know you, but you saved us. So that's really what matters here. You know, you saved us. You know, and I hope your future actions as this kind of good Green Goblin can make up for the mistakes my husband Harry Osborn made and his father Norman Osborn made. Mostly Harry, but you know, I'd like to think she means Norman too. Especially she just gives him his blessing. You know what? She basically is like, you know, you're good. You keep doing your thing. You seem like a decent guy. You don't seem like the evil goblins that my husband and his father was. You know, just keep doing your thing, basically. So he gets his blessing. He's really happy about that. And we get another good shot here of like the green tongue, kind of venomous in a way. It's kind of cool. Laughing all the way. And then we see him flying off to the moon here. And yeah, that's oh no, wait, I'm sorry. I got one more scene. I forgot. It was Angel Face talking. And basically she's just saying, you know, Goblin did this to me. If you hadn't gotten in the way, everything would have been fine. But I'm gonna get my revenge. You can see her face right here, pretty burned. I'd probably be pretty mad too. But you know, anyway, she's like, you know, I'm gonna get my revenge. Ha 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 ha. And that's the end of that issue. So, oops. Yeah, that was Green Goblin issue 9. Pretty good issue. You know, it's pretty simple issue. Pretty cool. Not a lot to really dive into with character, but to be honest, I kind of like the simple stories. You know, simple dialogue, get some action. You know, that's how it goes. Liz Osborn gives Phil his blessings, so that's kind of cool. And I like the whole hint of, you know, the warehouse being cleared out. You know, who could it be? Who found out his identity? You know, who did all of that? You know, does somebody know who he is? And okay, just to give you a heads up, this plot point of the warehouse being cleared out and the mystery of who did this does not come back up in the main series, so it does just kind of get tossed to the wayside, which kind of sucks. But there's a book not tied into this main series, but there is a book that kind of leads to the theory of the person who might have done this. And I'll probably get into that in a video soon. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, this was Green Goblin issue 9, a good issue. Angel Face was a pretty good villain. You know, she's fine. She isn't the best villain. If I had to say, I'd probably like the Steel Slammer better. But you know, she's fine. And it's cool that they gave her a vendetta against the Goblin, I guess. But yeah, that was Green Goblin issue 9. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll talk to you later.